I think Stoicism certainly misses something for me. The Stoic point of view is an extremely egoistic point of view from my perspective, because i- in a sense, you're centering your reality and controlling and molding your own reality outside of the context of the world, right? It's the world that provides the chaos, and you are trying to separate yourself to create internal peace. Um, and I think that can be an isolating worldview that removes you out of community and out of connection with others. Because in a sense, other people and other people's desires and wants and their perspectives is just another source of chaos, right? You can't necessarily have a peaceful Stoic life. And I am simplifying Stoicism a little bit here. Um, you can't have a completely peaceful life that you control when you've got all these complex relationships with other people, other systems, and other groups. Um, and I think trying to chase peace via Stoicism sort of isolates you from those other people.
Mm.
Mm.
That's an interesting point I've really heard before. The yeah, the disconnection that a Stoic life can point you towards. And it's
Yeah,
interesting
like
that it is
let's think about Marcus Aurelius. Like, he lived an extremely lonely life. He was
and
surrounded by people, but he
and
lived a lonely life. Let's be honest.
and how a lot of, the promotion of Stoicism in today's world is to in this sort of personal development world that, you can view it as it's an industry fueled by people's loneliness,
Mhm.
and disconnection from others,
Yeah,
and it's just kind of, it's a cope. Stoicism can be a cope to that. I think there's great value in it, of course, but I do, yeah, that's an interesting point. What were you going to
yeah.
say, Jake?
Do you think we live stoically to then get the peace afterwards? Is stoicism maybe necessary for a season for us to then to for a season to be like, it's not what happens to us, it's about how we respond to it. So let's focus on how we can respond to it by removing all the kind of distractions and just like constantly focusing on making ourselves sort of better men and stronger, and maybe because that's the way that I'm kind of leaning towards this in this discussion. I think it's necessarily it for me. It's necessary for a season of life, and then I think from that you can bring yourself peace.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's quite useful as a tool to for a season, like you say. I think it certainly um is useful. I would I, I would take a different approach, but like I think people can use Stoicism as a tool for sure. Um, it's quite difficult though, if I think about myself when I was a lot younger and potentially in a vulnerable moment, right? Um, just like growing up as a young man, um, and finding my place, and going through university, or in early relationships. If I used Stoicism as a tool in those moments of vulnerability, it would be quite difficult for me to be like, oh, okay, cool, I'm done with Stoicism now. Like, it's time to move on with life. Because you're adopting a worldview in your vulnerable state, it can quite easily become the way you move in the world. And you can, in a sense, deify this worldview. Um, Not because like you're an unintelligent person, but because you've adopted Stoicism by definition in a vulnerable moment, right? So I can see it going way too far, and that disconnection becoming almost like a pathology for vulnerable people, which is probably what we see, to your point, Joel, in this world today, especially for young men. Um, this glorification of Marcus Aurelius, and like this understanding of the world as being one that's constantly in conflict and war. And it's a bit like, chill, bro. You're not an emperor on the battlefield against, like, relax, you know,
Yeah.
chill.
You're just a bit sad.
Yeah, yeah, just relax. Um, like, if you read Marcus Aurelius's diary, he's talking about he's waking up in the morning and he's beset on all sides. All of his generals want to overthrow him. All of his
Mm.
soldiers are like, need to be controlled at all moments. He's got political rivals at home. He's got rivals on the battlefield trying to take his head off. He's got assassins in his camp. Like, he can trust no one. Is a world that I don't think is really relevant to modern day 2025 Western society.
Mm.
And I think um, it's just a little bit like a little bit too far for me.
Yeah, I think it's a good general point is it's worth people taking time to realize whether the kind of beliefs and philosophies that resonate with them were just acting as emotional bandages for a time in their life. And I think we do that. We have this proclivity to just hold on to whether, you know, it's a political belief or a worldview about how one should act or how others should act, and because it served a purpose at a time when we were vulnerable emotionally, we hold on to it as tight as we possibly can because it's so connected to our identity. But sometimes we have to recognize that it either doesn't serve us anymore, or that emotional wound is healed, and you know, there's no need to hold on to it so tightly. And actually, it's better to just connect to others and return back to an open mind and think again and you know, reevaluate what resonates with you. And I think that's a big part of growing up.